Hey you, someone clearly thinks you're about to do something big because they send us a whole podcast episode full of college advice.
Yeah, what's interesting is this 10 valuable college life advice for success episode. It isn't just about surviving exams and all-nighters.
Oh, definitely not.
It's full of insights that can help you thrive in college and set you up for success way beyond graduation.
Exactly. And that's why we're here. We're doing a deep dive into this episode, and we're pulling out the gems, the real game changers, so you don't have to wade through an hour of content yourself.
And first up, they hit us with define your goals early. This might sound obvious,
Yeah.
but trust me, it's something a lot of people skip over, thinking they'll figure it out as they go.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in the excitement of starting college.
Absolutely.
But having some sort of direction can make a huge difference. It's like you wouldn't just hop in a car and start driving without knowing where you're headed.
Right, exactly. Having goals, even if they're loose, helps you make decisions about your classes, your major, even the clubs you join. Plus, they can evolve as you learn and grow.
Ugh. I wish someone had told me that I spent my first year feeling a bit lost.
Oh, yeah.
Like I was just taking random classes hoping something would click.
It happens, and the episode even acknowledges that your goals might shift as you go through college. The key is to revisit them periodically. See if they still align with what you want and make adjustments along the way.
So we've got our roadmap, but what about the actual journey? Next, they talk about manage your time effectively, which I think is the understatement of the century when it comes to college life.
Right. They throw out the usual suspects, calendars, to-do lists, apps, but they don't really get into the nitty-gritty of how to actually use these tools effectively.
Exactly. It's like, okay, I have a calendar,
Right.
but my schedule's still a chaotic mess. What am I missing?
Well, one technique they don't mention but that I found super helpful is the Pomodoro technique. Have you ever heard of it?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
Isn't it something about tomatoes?
Sort of. It's named after those cute kitchen timers shaped like tomatoes. The idea is to break your work into 25-minute chunks separated by short breaks. It sounds simple, but it really helps you focus and avoid getting bogged down.
I actually tried this once when I was writing a paper, and it was amazing how much I got done.
Yeah.
I think I need to bring it back into my life.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is build meaningful connections. This one always makes me think of awkward networking events with forced small talk.
Yeah, they use the word networking, which can feel very transactional, but think of it more like finding your tribe, the people who get you, inspire you, and challenge you to grow.
That makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
And the episode specifically mentions joining clubs and attending events, which can be a great way to meet like-minded people. I remember finding my best study buddies in a film club.
Oh, nice.
We'd hang out, watch movies, and actually get some work done too.
Exactly. And those connections can be invaluable not just for your social life, but for your future career too. They can open doors to opportunities you never even knew existed.
Speaking of well-being, they also emphasize taking care of your health, which, let's be real, is probably the hardest thing to do in college. All of those late-night study sessions fueled by pizza and energy drinks. Not exactly a recipe for a healthy lifestyle.
Right, and they're not just talking about physical health. They actually spend quite a bit of time discussing mental health, which is often overlooked, but just as crucial.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
College can be super stressful. It's a time of massive change and adjustment, and it's okay to not be okay all the time.
Absolutely. And the episode encourages students to utilize the resources available on campus, like counselors, support groups, even just talking to a trusted friend or professor.
It's funny how sometimes the simplest things like taking a break to go for a walk or getting enough sleep can make a huge difference. Okay, now for the topic that might make you cringe a little. Financial responsibility.
Yeah, this one can be tough. They offer some general advice, like creating a budget and avoiding unnecessary debt. But they don't go much deeper than that.
Right. It's like, I know I should budget, but where do I even start?
One thing they don't explicitly mention, which I think is super helpful, is to track your spending for a month. Literally write down every single purchase, no matter how small. You'll be surprised, and maybe a little horrified, to see where your money actually goes.
I'm scared to even try that. But probably a good idea. Maybe I can justify that daily latte if I cut back on something else. Or maybe not.
It's all about finding a balance, right? Now let's shift gears to a topic that can be both exhilarating and terrifying. Embrace failure as a learning opportunity.
This one is so important. College is all about pushing your boundaries and trying new things, which inevitably means you're going to stumble along the way. The episode actually has a great quote about this. Don't be afraid to stumble. It's part of the learning process.
I love that.
Yeah.
And they're not just talking about accepting failure, but actually using it as a tool for growth. For example, I remember when in my sophomore year, I decided to take this organic chemistry class.
Ooh.
Everyone said it was the weed out class for pre-med, but I was determined to ace it. Let's just say I got weeded out.
Oh no, what happened?
I totally bombed the first midterm. I had never failed a test that badly in my life. I was crushed, ready to switch majors, the whole dramatic meltdown.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
But then I realized, okay, this sucks, but what can I learn from it?
That's a great mindset shift. So what did you do?
Well, first I swallowed my pride and went to the professor's office hours.
Always a good move.
It turns out I was studying all wrong. I was trying to memorize everything instead of actually understanding the concepts. So we came up with a new study plan. I joined a study group, and slowly but surely things started to click.
I bet that was a huge relief.
It was. I still didn't get an A in the class, but I passed, and honestly, I learned more from that one class than I did from any other that semester. It taught me to ask for help, to change my approach when something's not working, and to not give up just because things get tough.
That's such a valuable lesson, and it applies to so much more than just college. Okay, let's dive back into the episode. They also talk about developing strong study habits, which I think is something we could all use a refresher on.
Absolutely. And they highlight the importance of finding study techniques that work for you.
Right.
Because everyone learns differently.
Totally. I remember trying to force myself to use flashcards because everyone said they were the best.
Yeah.
But honestly, they just didn't work for me. I ended up creating these elaborate mind maps, which felt way more visual and creative.
That's a great example. The episode mentions flashcards, group study scheduling, regular study hours, all valid techniques.
Yeah.
But the key is to experiment and see what helps you absorb information most effectively.
They also touch on the idea of active learning, which I'm a little fuzzy on. What exactly does that mean?
It's about engaging with the material on a deeper level, not just passively reading or listening. Think about taking notes, asking questions, summarizing concepts in your own words, even teaching the material to someone else. Anything that forces you to actively think about and process the information.
That makes so much more sense. I used to think just highlighting everything in the textbook was studying.
Oh, what?
Now I realize I was barely scratching the surface.
It's a common mistake. We often equate time spent with material with actual learning, but that's not always the case. Active learning is about quality over quantity.
Okay, last but not least, they talk about preparing for life beyond college, which might seem a bit premature when you're just starting out, but honestly, it's never too early to start thinking about your future.
Exactly. And the episode emphasizes the importance of being proactive. Don't wait until your senior year to start figuring out what you want to do with your life. Start exploring your options now.
They specifically recommend leveraging career services, which I think is a resource that many students underutilize.
It's true. Career services can help you with everything from writing a resume to practicing for interviews to connecting you with internships and job opportunities. They're like a secret weapon for navigating the post-college world.
And speaking of internships, the episode really stresses the value of gaining real-world experience. It's one thing to learn about something in a classroom. It's another to actually apply those skills in a professional setting.
Exactly. Internships allow you to test the waters in different industries, build your network, and develop valuable skills that will make you stand out to potential employers. Plus, you might even discover a career path you never knew existed.
I wish I had done more internships in college.
Yeah.
It's such a great way to figure out what you like, what you don't like, and to gain confidence in your abilities.
Absolutely. It's all about taking those small steps now that can set you up for bigger leaps later on. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there, explore different opportunities, and see where your journey takes you.
Well said. I think we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about everything from goal setting to time management to embracing failure to preparing for life beyond college. What's fascinating is how interconnected all these pieces of advice are.
I was just thinking the same thing. It's not just a random list of tips. It's really a holistic approach to thriving in college and beyond.
Exactly. And it all comes back to being intentional, proactive, and open to growth. But before we wrap up, I have a feeling you have one last nugget of wisdom to share.
You know me too well. Remember how we talked about the importance of defining your goals early on? Well, I think it's equally important to define what success actually means to you.
Ooh, that's good, because it's so easy to get caught up in like the traditional definition of success. You know?
Exactly. Good grades, landing that dream internship, getting into grad school.
Right.
Those things are great,
Yeah,
but they might not be everyone's definition of success.
totally. And sometimes chasing those external markers can actually make us lose sight of what truly matters to us.
It's so true. So take some time to reflect on what success means to you. What are your values? What brings you joy? What kind of impact do you want to make on the world?
I love that. Because success isn't like a one-size-fits-all concept. It's about aligning your actions with your values and creating a life that feels filling on your own terms.
Exactly. And remember, success isn't a destination, it's a journey. It's about constantly learning, growing, and evolving.
So even if you stumble along the way, even if you don't achieve every single goal you set for yourself, as long as you're moving in a direction that feels right for you, you're on the path to success.
That's a great way to put it. And I think that's one of the most important takeaways from this episode. It's not about following a prescribed formula. It's about creating your own unique recipe for success.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So to everyone out there about to embark on their college journey, or maybe even just thinking about taking the plunge, remember this.
College is an incredible opportunity for growth, discovery, and transformation. Embrace the challenges, celebrate the victories, and don't be afraid to define success on your own terms.
And if you ever need a study buddy, a sounding board, or just someone to share a slice of pizza with, you know where to find us.
We're always here to support you on your journey.
That's it for this deep dive into college success strategies.
We hope you found it insightful, inspiring, and maybe even a little bit life-changing.
Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep on diving deep.